What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 3, and we start today's episode off with confirmation of the Oliver Norwood injury. You saw him go down in the last game in the last episode against Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. He's dislocated his shoulder and he's going to be out for 8 weeks, so almost 2 months our captain is going to miss. And after our first 4 games in the Premier League, no wins on the board so far, just a 1 point and a 1 goal coming at Stamford Bridge in our last game. And now missing our captain for the next 8 weeks as well. Bit of a tough blow and a bitter pill to swallow, especially after the start we've endured here at Bramwell Lane. But following that, as you can see, this is the academy update there real briefly. Donald Brennan gets some training here as I do set the training up. I didn't do this in the first 2 episodes. Obviously, training was a new feature introduced back in FIFA 16, but as I always say, I don't really do too much with it. I know we just set the 5 drills up for 5 players, and in the end, just sort of maybe changed them once or twice during the season, but for the most part, they stay pretty much the same as the year goes on. But for our first game of today's episode without Norwood, we will take on Southampton here back at Bramwell Lane. Still searching for our first Premier League point and our first Premier League goal in front of the home crowd this season, but obviously buoyed by our point away in West London against Chelsea. That was a fantastic result for us. Now coming back home, we had confidence heading into this game that this could be the game where we get our first 3 points on the board in the Premier League. And taking on the Saints, still lining up in that 5-3-2, 1 change to our starting 11. Of course, Norwood not in the side now due to injury, so Ravel Morrison, who started quite well this season, would come in. And our first chance fell 90 minutes as well. George Baldock bamboozling Yannick the Giant Vestergaard down the right hand side, rolling it through to McBurney, but he was denied by McCarthy. It was still goalless, and McBurney was looking our best player inside the first 40 minutes as well. Another strike well saved by McCarthy here as we were approaching the end of the first half. Still 0-0, but again playing with confidence on the back of that point away against Chelsea. Southampton's best chance to half fell here. Nathan Rem denied by Henderson, making a good save and turning behind for a corner. And in the first half, I thought we played well. We played really well. We were full of confidence. We were looking good, and we started that way off in the second half as well. Nice break here. Morrison hits the deck. We play the advantage. Robinson back heels to John Fleck, rolls it through to his Scottish bro Oliver McBurney, who goes through 1-on-1, and there is our second Premier League goal of the campaign. But the celebrations are short-lived. Maya Yoshida appeals for it. The lino grants his request. Flag goes up, offside, and if I'm being honest, it was clearly offside, and there wasn't need for a VAR. So still goalless, and after this allowed goal as well, Southampton really kicked their game up, made it 1-0 through Danny Ings in the 73rd minute, I think it was, and late on in the game, I sort of lost my discipline a little bit, trailing by 1, and Shane Long made it 2 with 2 minutes to go as well. So 2 late goals conceded. You might have noticed in our first 5 games, a lot of the games we were conceding more than 1 goal, which is every game apart from the Chelsea game. The goals have come in quite quick space, quite short space of each other. It seems like when we concede 1, soon after we'll concede another. We don't really pick ourselves up. Instead, we stay on the ground. And late on, Long made it 3-0. His shot deflecting off the glove of Henderson, and once again another near post goal there. I talked about it in the last episode. They are very common this year, as the Saints won it by 3-0 courtesy of 3 late goals, with Long bagging a brace. So a very, very tough loss, that one. 3-0 at home, our worst defeat of the season without our captain as well. And when you think things couldn't get even worse, after the game we find out that Ravel Morrison, who stepped in for our captain in that game, went down during our play, which led to the disallowed goal. Has broken his toe, and he's going to be out for 2 months, so about the same time as Norwood. And I mean, literally, we have got no luck to start the season off whatsoever. Players have gone down. Obviously, Fleck went down the opening day. Thankfully, that was just a bruise, and he was okay to play in the next game. But either way, that's 3 sort of official injuries so far to start the campaign off, all coming in the central midfield area as well. You know, and obviously Morrison and Norwood both started off okay this season. They're both going to be out for 2 months. So just a very tough start for Sheffield United, to say the very least. But I've got to be honest here, I quite like it. You know, I'm liking the challenge. It feels like a lot different to the past few career modes where it was just so easy. So Morrison goes down, as you saw. 3 more youth scouting updates there, and we put a couple more players in our academy. And I decided after that as well to go ahead and promote Donald Brennan from the academy. So far, the only 16-year-old in our youth squad is eligible to be promoted. I wanted to promote Aidan White instead, but I settled on Brennan. And as Brennan comes out of the academy, just to add squad depth really to the side, due to the injuries we've got now in central midfield. As you can see, he's listed an exciting prospect prospect, so good potential, high medium work rates, 5-star skill moves, you know I love that, and a 6'3" too. A cam, a CF, and a CM and a CF listed positions. High medium work rates. I like look at this guy, I really do, but I'm very disappointed as well that his physical is only 40. You know, this young lad, 16 years old, already 6'3", and I've seen him as well on pitch. He's not a lanky streak of piss. He's got a bit of body to him, but for some reason he's got 40 physical. I really wish EA would sort of tweak the stats of youth players a little bit more to make them more realistic, because sometimes that can break the immersion. You know, that youth player there, 6'3", you think that's one of his best sides of his game. His physicality instead is his worst part of the game, which is quite frustrating. But still, for our second of 3 games today, going back on the road for this one, as we take on Everton away at Goodison Park, and I made a couple of changes to my lineup. Freeman, of course, coming in for Ravel Morrison. Ben Osmond will start a left wing back in place of Ender Stevens. Phil Jagielka would face his former team away at Goodison Park, and also Lys Mousset, the former Bournemouth striker, would get a chance up top. And talk about taking the chance, because 28 minutes to the game, we started off quite well, our attacking movement was looking good, and as Lisa was played forward, he had a terrible goal-to-game ratio with the Cherries before he left this summer to Bramall Lane. First start in the Premier League for Sheffield United, and he does that. Dinks the ball over Jordan Pickford. A bit of a camera dive from Pickford. The ball sailing over his head, and he still attempted to go for it, even though it was clearly way above him. But 1-0 to Sheffield United, and that was how the first half finished. We looked really good every time we went forward, and for the league's lowest scorers away from home at Goodison Park, only 1 point picked up so far. That would have shocked everyone, but Callum Robinson here almost went coast to coast 6 minutes after the restart. That shot well saved by Jordan Pickford, as we were still leading by the goal. Whether our attacks came from counter-attacks, wing play, or good build-up play through the middle, we just looked on top in this game and so threatening. After some great hold-up play by McBurney off the bench, he releases Lys Mousset, and for the second time in the game, Pickford strays off his line, and our French striker bags a brace in his first Premier League start for the Blades. And you thought the first chip was nice. This one was just absolutely unbelievable. Weaker left foot, doesn't need a touch. Pickford stranded in no man's land. God knows why he came down to close down the angles there. Mousset was running out of play at that point. But either way, what a goal. And you see what it means on the sidelines as well, because we know we are minutes away from our first victory in the Premier League this season. But it was going to come without a fight back from the Toffees late on. Andre Gomez made it 2-1 and half deficit right before the end of the game to ruin our clean sheet, but not the celebrations. Final score, full-time whistle, we hold on. First win in the Premier League for Sheffield United, and it comes at Goodison Park. Everton 1, Sheffield United 2, and for our troubles in front of goal this season, well, I found a solution, at least short term. Lys Mousset stepping in for McBurney, who, to be fair, for the second goal, held the ball up really well to drag Mina out of position and roll the Frenchman through. But that second goal, what a fantastic chip. Third goal of the season overall, and a big 2-1 victory, our first win in the Premier League. And my word, the relief on my face after that game was crazy, man, because I was thinking to myself, when's that first win going to come? After that Southampton game, 3-0 defeat at home, I was thinking, when is that first win going to come? Well, thankfully, the long overdue wait is over. Big win away at Everton, and a huge 3 points on the board for Sheffield United. But following that, our third and final game of today's episode, as we will play host to Burnley here in the third round of the Carabao Cup. But as you see by my lineup, stuck with the same 5-3-2, but fielded a fully rotated side. The board don't care about the competition at all. It's not in their objectives, and it's not an objective of mine either to go anywhere in this competition. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So fully rotated side, 11 changes for the game, including Brennan, the 16-year-old, getting his first start out of the academy tonight. But just 15 minutes in, we fell behind early to a Burnley side, which was really strong. We weren't taking the competition seriously at all. They had a very strong lineup out there, so we wasn't surprised to go 1-0 down early. But 24 minutes in, we did respond to get back on level terms. A little bit fortunately, a poor pass there as Burnley tried to play out from the back. David McGoldrick getting a start in this game, scores his first goal of the season, playing for a contract. Our contract in the summer makes it 1-1, puts us back on level terms. But to be honest, Burnley's side was far superior. They picked a really strong lineup for the game tonight. We picked a fully rotated side. I knew we'd be up against it from the first whistle, and despite the McGoldrick goal, first half belonged to Burnley. They were the better team. Chris Wood was terrorising us in this game, as was Goodmanson, and in the second half with 22 minutes to go, Wood was played forward by Goodmanson and smashed it home for his second goal of the game to put a 2-goal cushion between us and the Clarets. And that's how the game finished as well. Sheffield United 1, Burnley 3. Thought I'd show you goals in the games again. We weren't really fussed about the competition. We are out. And again, it doesn't bother me one bit. Just having our players fit, healthy, and raring to go in the Premier League and staying up in the Premier League is our sole objective. So we could do without this competition coming in midweek. And we're out. And to be honest, I'm not one bit fussed and neither are the board. So we've got bigger fish to fry, baby, staying in the Premier League. And on the back of our first Premier League win, we're feeling very confident that now we can start dragging ourselves away from the bottom three after a very turbulent start. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So a big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed today's double episode upload day. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.